Dark matter is a hypothetical substance that makes up approximately 85% of the matter in our current universe, but for some reason we cannot confirm its existence, since it does not interact with the electromagnetic force. This in turn means it does not absorb, reflect, or emit light, making it extremely hard to spot or even prove its existence. And the only reason us as a species believe in its existence is the unexplained nature of the forces of gravity. So, in this hypothetical of what if Naruto had dark matter or dark matter release, we will be stepping into something closer to a gravitational pull with some fictional spins on the concept of dark matter, which would more closely link it to antimatter. So if you do see some crosses in that little gray section between the two, that is the reason, just to spice the what if up a little bit more. But I've been blabbering on long enough with the explanation, so let's get into this. Naruto would make off with Gaara's still very living body as the shinobi from Iwa lays chase. On the other hand, on the tail of the shinobi from Iwa, Deidara, we have Kakashi. Kakashi doesn't immediately want to use his Mangekyo ability since he does not know the full parameters of how it works. It could be mid-range, it could be long-range, it could only work at a certain speed, and so on and so forth. Thus, he would not want to use it immediately, and would resort to other jutsu like the Fireball and Lightning Arc to try and catch Deidara off guard to give Naruto enough time to get away. Naruto is making well pace as he had gained an immaculate distance on Deidara and Kakashi, but he's still within Vision's range. This is when Kakashi would decide that he might need to use his Kamui. And he would, thus getting rid of one of Deidara's arms. This would result in the Iwa shinobi finally shifting attention to the copy ninja, and would berate him with many bombs. This would gain Naruto enough of a time period to get away, safely that is, as he would then run to at least an outpost of the sand, where he would then encounter the villagers who had come to see if Gaara was safe. He would leave the still awake Gaara, or still asleep Gaara, with these villagers as he would head back to help his sensei Kakashi. As he arrives back at the battlefield, he sees Kakashi torn up and tired, as he had probably taken many a bomb almost straight on. That's when Naruto has an idea. It's a bird, how about I just unbalance it by making one of its wings too heavy? And that's what he does. On somewhat of a surprise attack, he's able to make one of the wings of the bird affected by gravity to a larger degree as it would tilt, throwing Deidara off of it, only to be hit by an unstable Rasengan-like jutsu. This is the Dark Matter Rasengan. He doesn't use it that often since it is highly unstable and it could cause a massive explosion if close to others. This is when the jutsu goes off. The jutsu would explode and would shred Deidara, but somehow he's still alive. One leg and no arms left to speak of. He would crawl on the ground using his one last leg to chew up some clay, and would do so successfully. And as he does, he says, "Well, this is my final explosion," as he hops onto his one final leg, starting to increase in size. Naruto knows exactly what to do. He heavies the pressure on Deidara as he lightens it on himself, grabbing Kakashi, doing the same vice versa, as he starts running. A giant explosion would occur behind them as they get just out of range, but not enough out of range as the explosion is quickly catching up to Naruto. That's when he knows he has to save Kakashi. The explosion will end short, but if he keeps doing this, both of them will get caught up in it. as he would then swing, throwing Kakashi, letting as much Nine-Tails chakra leak as possible, seemingly getting consumed by the explosion. He would be in a three-tailed state at this point when he would stand there somewhat unfazed. It looks like it didn't even touch him. And also, what's this dark shadow coming over his body? He would turn around to see a giant fan and a blonde-headed girl accompanying it, saying, "Oh, looks like you're okay then, Blondie," with Naruto letting the chakra cloak of the Nine-Tails fade away, replying with a, "Tamari? You saved me. Thanks." With her just saying that within the chakra cloak, he would have probably been fine, but better safe than sorry, which would then lead to a conversation among the group. We would then discover that Gaara had waken up and then gave the location of the hideout almost exactly to the rest of the villagers and shinobi, obviously Tamari being one of these. So as we then see, Tamari, a pretty injured Kankura, and a bunch of villagers would approach around Naruto, with Gaara limping along. This would cause somewhat of a celebration as they head back to the cave, where they would find Chio, Sakura, and a lifeless Sasori. They had won this battle. They more than just won it. They succeeded completely. They had brought back Gaara alive. Chio has no injuries to speak of, or at least no lethal ones. And both Akatsuki members in this case are actually dead, along with some information regarding Orochimaru and Sasuke. So if this isn't an absolute win, I don't know what would be. As we see Gaara being praised by some of the girls from the village, and Naruto being thanked for saving her brother's life, obviously from Tamari. Kankuro would break his pride and do something similar, as they would offer the Leaf Shinobi place in the sand until they recuperate. But this time, interrupted by Kakashi, they would say that they need to head back to the Leaf. They have some important information they need to deliver to the Hokage. And thus, that's what they would do. They would head back to the Leaf to inform Tsunade of Orochimaru's whereabouts. On the other hand, we still have the interaction which would normally happen between the members of the Akatsuki, being Zetsu and Tobi or Obito, as we this time see both Sasori and Deidara are actually dead, meaning they now have 2 spots to fill. Which means, thus, that Tobi will probably become a permanent member, and at that he would not follow underneath Deidara. So who would be the mysterious shinobi replacing Deidara within the Akatsuki's ranks? Well, for now, that seems unclear, as the shinobi in Team 7 head back to Konoha. Thus, we would see Team 7 returning to Konoha, or at least entering his gates, along with some shinobi from the sand. A combination of Jonin and Genin, presumably squads, who will be participating in the upcoming Chunin exams, since we know that both Shikamaru and Tamari were both big parts of the planning, or had big roles in the planning of this upcoming Chunin exams. But we're not here to go on about that, but instead we are here to focus on what happens next. Team 7 heading to Konoha's hospital, since Kakashi is pretty injured. Thus, they would leave him there as they report back to Tsunade. They would report to Tsunade that they had found information on Orochimaru's whereabouts and possibly that of Sasuke through a spy of the Akatsuki. All they need to do is find this spy and get the exact location from him. They also inform that he is somewhat of an informant for a member of the Akatsuki that they had previously killed. So, as long as the trail is still fresh, they should be able to fool him and thus get any information needed. This would leave Tsunade in a point of distress, as she does not know what to do. Kakashi is currently hospitalized and won't be able to go on a mission for at least some weeks. But on the other hand, if they let this rest for weeks, they can lose this entire lead. So she would then assign one of her trusted Anbu in Tenzin or Yamato to Team 7. On the other hand, one of the Leaf's elders would be just as worried, being Danzo. Danzo Shimura would then appoint one of his most loyal agents to Team 7 as well, this being the ever so loved emotionless bastard emo fuck of a discount Sasuke, Sai. Sai would join in on Team 7, and his connection to the group would pretty much be similar to canon, as I think the events going up to this arc will most likely unfold near exact, since Naruto was just as spontaneous as ever, just with a slightly grim aura around him, and if he was to get in a fight, there would be a bunch of differences. On the other hand, we see them proceeding to do so. The new Team 7, led by Yamato and accompanied by Sai, would make their way to the location where they would meet Sasori's spy. Before meeting Sasori's spy, they would of course camp out at a hot spring reserve type of location, and that would be where Sai and Sakura had their interaction. As per usual, he would call her ugly and so on and so forth, as they would then have a slight bonding moment, with Sakura beating the ever-living shit out of Sai afterwards. We would fade away tonight as day comes again, preparing for a fight just in case it happens, since they had no way to confirm that Sasori's spy was actually a spy, but instead some sort of warning mechanism for Orochimaru. They come up with an idea. Yamato himself would be disguised as Sasori, while the rest of them, being people like Sai, Naruto, and Sakura, would be ready to battle, since they need to be hidden regardless. Naruto and Sai would formulate a plan, with Naruto using a clone to disguise itself as Sai, just in case Sai needs to land some sort of sneak attack, since they would expect, once again, a 4-man team, and if Sai can actually land a secret blow, that could be detrimental. So we would see Yamato approaching the bridge, where then he would run into whom we believe to be Sasori's spy, which would be revealed to be Kabuto, as a single slash comes out of the cloak he was hiding in, cleaving open Yamato's wood transformation, as a battle would ensue. At first, it would be a speech from Kabuto, as 3 figures attack from the shadow. 2 of them, being Naruto and a clone of Naruto disguised as Sai, would try and use a more stabilized version of the Dark Matter Rasengan, which has a controlled pulse of direct chakra, which, if you want a visual to how that would look, imagine a dark purple hued Kamehameha wave from Dragon Ball, as he would hit almost Kabuto straight on. Kabuto would be able to dodge only his cloak getting caught in a crossfire, as he would have abandoned it to cause some sort of distraction. The Rasengan would explode, leaving a hole through the bridge, when it would be revealed that Orochimaru is present as well. Sakura would not have even come close with her hit, as Kabuto would have been easily able to evade it. Also, Naruto's shadow clone would be dispelled by Yamato, as he scolds Naruto for using a jutsu that 2 different people like that would not use together, especially people that know of the jutsu's existence, like Kabuto. Thus, it had become apparent that it was a clone. Sasori, for some reason, would not strike from the shadows, which would confuse the group, but they would assume he's looking for an opening. So, from banter of Orochimaru, Naruto's anger seeping more and more, it would be revealed that Naruto had already gone into a 3rd cloak state, and the more he fights Orochimaru and Orochimaru avoids his attack, the more chakra leak becomes apparent, going into a 4th tail, and that's when Yamato knows his jutsu won't work on Naruto from here on going out, since obviously, Jiraiya had said a 3rd tail Naruto had put the hole in his chest, or at least that's what was relayed by Kakashi to Yamato. So he is pretty terrified of what might happen in this situation. On the other hand, Naruto is quickly catching up to Orochimaru in power as more chakra seeps, eventually forcing Orochimaru to use a hidden defensive technique that summons 3 giant near-indestructible doors. Naruto, using a Biju bomb at 4th tail level, was able to cleave through 2 of them and almost destroy the 3rd, as he would finally have enough chakra seeping to go into a 5th tail. As bones start appearing around his arms and on top of his head, he would be able to move much faster than Orochimaru can throw jutsu. This would obviously result in Naruto either completely obliterating Orochimaru or plot armor being necessary to save him. I feel at this point Kabuto would have leaped into the tree line and had been looking from the shadows, as Naruto's final Biju bomb, which I do think he had another one in him, would disrupt Orochimaru's entire body, seemingly destroying it, as a single snake whittles off into the forest, obviously out of vision from the pure destruction caused by the Biju bomb. Kabuto, who would receive the snake, would be relieved to see his master still technically being alive and him not needing to go through the gruesome process of removing Sasuke's seal to bring him back. On the other hand, it also becomes apparent that Sai had betrayed the team, as they see Sai leap into the tree line, starting to talk to Kabuto. Only Sakura was able to catch this, as she had been thrown near that same tree line after Naruto had attacked her, with her trying to calm him down. Naruto is currently losing the chakra cloaks, as the target of his rage had been annihilated, at least to his beliefs. This is when both Yamato and Naruto would be informed by Sakura that both Sai's betrayal had become apparent and that they need to follow suit. Sakura would be seen healing herself, as she'd be in pretty bad condition, and they would barely be able to follow behind, with Kabuto and Sai even getting out of vision by using one of Sai's painted birds or summoned birds. I know it is called the Super Beast Scroll, but so on and so forth. They would probably lose our team, leaving them to aimlessly wander around. But if you want to witness the changes that will occur from the timeline by domino effect through this event, you will have to come back next time, guys, since that is it for this part. And yeah, I really do hope y'all enjoyed, and if y'all did, consider leaving a like, subscribing, and so on and so forth. I would also like to give a quick shout out to the members who help this channel grow and sustain itself, whilst also having some exclusive content, like what if Naruto and Ino got together instead, and what if Ichigo got with Yoruichi. If you want to see content like that, consider becoming a member by either clicking the join button down below or going to the description and clicking the link. But that is going to be it for me, guys. I really do hope y'all enjoyed, and so on and so forth. This has been Six. Peace.